Hi and welcome. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this square with a little cute heart in it. It's worked in granny clusters, so you could call it a granny square heart, except for the fact that we're having more of a solid granny square on the outside. The pattern is really straightforward. We're going to start with a base heart like this one. And it's worked in rows, and we have a total of 7 rows. Very straightforward. Then we're going to add a border to it. So in this one, I just wanted to have this heart as a standalone project, so I used the same color for the border. But for the square, we're going to do the color change before we do the border around the heart. And then we're just going to work 2 rounds to create this square. You can use any kind of yarn you like and any kind of color combination. I do think that this pattern works best if you use 2 different colors. So these ones are all made in 2 shades of the same kind of color, but you can of course spice it up. And like I am right now working on this one, so this one I went for a more contrast look. I actually also tried to mix up my yarns a little bit, so I'm working on this one where I have 2 different yarn types in the same project. It actually kind of worked out pretty well. Maybe it's a little more Christmassy than I was going for, but I actually think it looks quite cool. So choose whatever yarn and whatever colors you like. Let's get started on the tutorial. So we're going to start with a base, and I like to start this project with a magic ring. So go ahead and do that any way you like. I like to roll my yarn around my fingers and create an X, go in under the first one, grabbing the second one, pull it through, come around, and then I am going to chain 1 to secure it. That is how I like to do it. We're going to work 5 double crochets on this first row, and if you've seen any of my videos, you know I'm a huge fan of stacking stitches. But for this particular project, I found that it doesn't really work, so I am going to make an exception and chain 3. You might already be working like that, so that's fine. I'm just going to do that. It does have its pros and cons, but we're going to get back to that. Now I'm going to put in 4 double crochets next to it, and this will be the base of our heart. We're not going to close the magic ring just yet, because on our border round we're going to use the magic ring and work in there as well. So 5 double crochets in total, like that. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, oops, and 3. Turn our work, and in that very same stitch we're going to add 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. So that gives us a total of 4 double crochets, and we kind of need it to be 4 because we're going to work in this chain 3 out here. And if we are only having 2 double crochets next to it, it will look kind of weird. So let's go with 4. Then we're going to skip 3 stitches, and then in our third chain over here we're going to put in 4 double crochets, and that completes our row number 2. 2, 3, and 4. Row number 3 will be a repeat, so chain 3, turn your work, put in 3 double crochets in that same space, that same top chain, and then we're going to work between the 2 clusters from the previous round. We're not going to chain anything, and we're not going into any stitches. We're just going around between the 2 clusters from the previous round. And in there we're going to put 3 double crochets, so not 4, only 3, because we're not going to work in this one. And then again go out and find your third chain, And that is kind of like why I don't really love to work with chains, because I always find it a little bit difficult to locate my chain. And with the stack stitches, it's just so much easier because you have a regular top stitch to work in. But again, I found this for this project, for some reason, it just works better with the chains. And don't worry about what it looks like, because again, we're going to work around them. The next 2 rows, we're going to do the same thing, putting in clusters between the clusters here. So 4 out on the side and 3 double crochets in between. So go ahead and do that until you have a total of 5 clusters. So that was 5 rows, and now we have the body of the heart done. So now we're going to decrease a little bit to get the top of the heart. So for this first time, we're only going to chain 2. We're going to turn our work, and then we're not going to work anymore in this stitch, but we're going to jump over between the 2 clusters from the previous round. We're going to put in 3 double crochets, because now we're no longer working at the border, we're working in the center of the heart, so no need to do 4. 3 double crochets over to the next one. We're going to do that 2 more times, so we're going to have a total of 4 clusters on this row. One more time. So this was the last double crochet on my 4th cluster, and to mirror this side over here, we're going to yarn over 1 time and go down and put in 1 double crochet in your 3rd chain in the row below. So now we went from 5 to 4 clusters. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to build the last row. So we're going to not do anything else over here, but go into the first space between the clusters, and in there we're going to build a new cluster, so 3 double crochets. And then we're going to build the top of the heart, so we're going to chain 3, 2 and 3, and we're going to go between the 2 clusters down here, and we're going to slip stitch. And it is kind of important that it is a slip stitch and not a single crochet, because it does something to the shape of the heart that we're doing a slip stitch, and we're also going to do that on the next round to keep the shape of the heart. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then in the next space we're going to put in 3 double crochets, 1 and 2 and 3. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then find our top chain down here. So remember, you only had 2 chains, so it's the second one, and then we're going to slip stitch in there to end this row. If you're building the heart, well, you can have it as is now. It actually looks kind of great, I think, but it doesn't look completely done to me. I would like to add another round to highlight some of these points up here. For the sake of this square, we're going to change color now, and we're going to move down to the bottom of the heart and start working down here. But if you only want to add a round of border, you can just continue over here and work your way around the heart, and you can follow along what I'm doing. We're just moving down here now. So I fastened off, and I'm bringing in a new color. There's one thing I want to mention before we move on. Your 6th row up here, so the one where we have 4 clusters, I like to mark out that row on both sides. So this is the first time we're doing, we're coming out of clusters and working in chains, because we're going to do something a little bit different in here. And so this is just so that I remember. You can go ahead and do the same thing if you want to. So I'm going to turn my heart around, and then as I mentioned, we're going to start working at the bottom. So I'm just going to attach my yarn. You can do that any way you like. We're just going to do a single crochet as our first stitch. So again, go ahead and do that any way you like. I'm not going to go all the way up to the side, up to the right here, because we're going to work half of the stitches that we need in here, and then when we come back we're going to finish with some more stitches. For this round we're basically just doing a lot of single crochets to shape it. There's a few things to know. So first we're going to put in 2 single crochets next to the one we just did. And when we come back, we're going to do 2 more. So we're going to have a total of 5 single crochets on the bottom. So if you're working from up here and you're working in a different color or in the same color, just know that we're going to have 5 single crochets at the bottom. On the first row, we're going to work on every row. We're going to work around our, either it's a chain or it's a double crochet depending on the row. And we're not going to go in, so the first one is easy because that's a chain. Let's just do that. The first row I like to only put in 2 single crochets. For all the others we're going to put in 3, except for the one we have marked up here. The next one is a double crochet, and they can sometimes be a little bit difficult to you could end up crocheting in middle of that, and you also have your top chain up here that kind of forms a little bit of a space, but just go around it. Don't work in any loops or anything and ignore that you have your space up here, because when we put in single crochets it will all kind of tie together very neatly. So 3 single crochets into the next one. Just use your fingers to separate and it will become pretty clear where to work. And again, ignoring that we have a little loop up here. Don't start with, I mean, if you want to, you could do 2 single crochets up here and 1 down here if you wanted to, but I just find that it doesn't really work at the end. It looks better doing it this way, but this is of course totally up to you. This is just my preference. So 3 again, and then 3 in the next one. And then we have our little special place up here that we have marked up. So our first chain, and in there we're only going to put 2 single crochets. If you're doing the heart and you're not going to do the square, you can go ahead and put in 3 single crochets. That is actually totally okay. There's room for it, but we only need 2 because of the way we're building our square. Then go up to the next chain space, 3 single crochets in there, 2 and 3. Then we have our top stitches up here, and in there we're going to put in 1 single crochet in each. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we have our 2 chains here, and in the first one also 3 single crochets. Well, that also goes for the other one, but first 3 single crochets. And here is again where it's kind of important that we are now going to do a slip stitch between the chains, so around this part from the last round. Again, if you do a single crochet, the heart will lose a little bit of its shape, so I really do recommend a slip stitch. And then again, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3. And as you can see, it makes sure that the heart keeps its shape. So just continue 1 single crochet in each top stitch, 3 singles. You have your marked out over here, 2 single crochets, and then 3 all the way down here, and I'll show you how we end the round. So now I only have 1 row left, so in this one we only put in 2 single crochets. I think 3 is too much down there. And then we had our magic ring where we have 3 single crochets. We're going to add 2 more for a total of 5 single crochets. And we're going to find that first single crochet that we did, and we're going to slip stitch in there. And then you can go ahead and tighten up your magic ring. So everything, whoops, if I can find that one, this one. So everything is kind of into place now. Again, you can stop now if you just want this decorative sweet heart, or you can come with me and continue with the square. So I just brought in a lot of stitch markers because there are some things I want to highlight. First of all, let's go to the top. Because up here we have the 3 single crochets on each side of our slip stitch, and we're going to crochet them together. So I like to mark out the first of the and the last of those 6 single crochets that we're going to reduce to 3 stitches. So I know I'm going to do something special up here. Then we're going to have our 4 corners, and we're going to have a corner out here and one out here first. So I like to, after I marked out this 3rd stitch, I'm going to count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in the next one, I'm going to mark that out because that would be one part of the corner. And I'm also going to mark out the one next to it. This might be a little excessive, but for the matter of this video, I'm just going to do it anyway because it makes it so much easier to see what we're doing. We're going to do the same on the other side. So count 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in the next one, this will be part of the corner. So the corner is, when we're creating it, worked over 2 stitches. So this one. So we have corners, and we know we're going to do something special up here. And we're going to have corners out here on both sides. So we're going to count 11 from this one we marked out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then the next one is going to be part of a corner. And so will the one next to it. So again, if you did more single crochets on the round before, your counting won't be completely the same as this one, but I'm sure you can make it work anyway. But this is just, if you want it to be completely as I have done it, this is the way to go. So we're just going to make sure we have, we're going to go to the other side and also count 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then the next one, going to mark that one out, and the one next to it. Whoops. And then let's see if we did the counting right, because we're going to have 5 stitches from this corner down to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So everything is good. So let's start building the square. In this first one where we are already standing, we're going to go into the same one. We're going to do a single crochet. So not chaining anything, not building anything, just put in a single crochet. And I like to mark that one out as well, because then we know when we get here that this is our first stitch. Over the next 2 stitches, we're going to put in 1 half double crochet in each. So 2 half double crochets next to each other. Except for the corners, we're only going to put in 1 stitch in each. Then for the next 2 stitches, we're going to put in 1 double crochet in each. So that was 4 stitches. Then we're going to yarn over 2 times, and in the next stitch, we're going to do a treble. So this is the one just before we're starting the corner. Oops. Then I'm going to remove my first stitch marker and also the second. So I kind of know where we're at right now. And in there, we're going to put, in the first stitch, we're going to put 2 trebles in the same stitch. One. And 2. We're going to chain 2. And in the next stitch, we're also going to put in 2 trebles. 1. and 2. So this is our first corner. In the next stitch, we're also going to put in a treble. Like that. The next 3 stitches, we're going to put in 1 double crochet in each. Now we're kind of working our way down again from the corner. So that was 3. You can see it's starting to build nicely. Over the next 3 stitches, we're going to put in half double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Over the next 3 stitches, we're going to put in a single crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Then you should have 1 left before we need to still start a new corner, and in there we're going to put in half double crochet. Like that. Then we can remove 2 stitch markers for the next corner. And in the first stitch, we're going to put 2 half double crochets. So 1 and 2. Then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. And in the next stitch, we're going to put in 2 half double crochets. Like that. And that was the second corner. Now we have 4 stitches until we get to our next stitch marker, and in there we're going to put in 1 single crochet in each. 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to remove the first stitch marker, and we're going to crochet the 6 stitches together 2 at a time, so we get to 3 stitches. The first one is going to be a half double crochet, crochet together. So go under the first one, come up 3 loops on the hook, into the next stitch, grab the yarn, come up 4 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 4. Then we have 4 stitches left, including the one with the stitch marker in, so 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And just remember, you have your slip stitch down here, but it doesn't count. And we're not going to use it. So over the 2 stitches on each side of the slip stitch, we're going to yarn over 1 time, go into the first, grab the yarn, come up, into the next, grab the yarn, come up. So this is a double crochet together. So yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over, go through 3, because we need the height. And then we can remove the stitch marker. And over the next 2, we're going to put in crochet them together with a half a double crochet. So 4 loops on the hook, and yarn over and go through all 4 loops. And now we're actually done. So for the rest of the round, you're just going to mirror what we have over here. So you have 4 single crochets over the next 4 stitches. Build a corner like you did over here, 2 half double crochets in the first, chain 2, 2 half double crochets in the next. Then coming out of the corner, we have a half double crochet. Then we have 3 single crochets, 3 half double crochets, 3 double crochets. And then before going into the corner, we're going to have 1 treble. And then the corner will be 2 trebles, chain 2, 2 trebles in the stitch next to it. Then we're going to have a treble, 2 double crochets, and 2 half double crochets before joining at the bottom. I will do that and meet you down at the bottom and show you how we end this round. So I made my way all the way around. I'm just going to remove my last stitch marker in my single crochet from the beginning, and I am going to slip stitch in there. As you can see, it's not quite a square yet. It's a little wonky and it doesn't look quite right. So we're going to build 1 more round to make it more even. It's just going to be a round of double crochets, 1 in each stitch all the way around. in the corners, you're going to put in 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. So I'm just going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and this will be my first double crochet. Then I'll move into the next stitch and put in a double crochet, and I'm going to do that all the way over to the corner. And if you did as I did on the previous round, you should now have 13 stitches on each side, which mean sorry, not 13, 15 stitches, which means when we're done with this round, should have 19 stitches. So we can just go ahead and count the first one. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus we're going to add 2, so that's 10. We're going to have 2 out here, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So that should be fine. Just going to put in for every corner 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochet, whoops, 2 double crochets, and then out of the corner. And just notice that going out of the corner, some of the top stitches might hide a little bit. This one was not difficult to find, but especially up here, it actually looks like we have 3 chains up here, but it's only the first 2 that are chains. This is actually our top stitch from the half double crochet from the previous round. So just make sure you count that. And the same one goes on the opposite corner, going out of the corner. You have your 2 chains, and then this one is actually your first top stitch to work in. So let's go ahead and put double crochets all the way around and see what that looks like. So I'm done all the way around. I'm just going to go into my 3rd chain that I did in the beginning. I'm going to slip stitch. And this completes the granny square heart. It now looks like this. I think it's a nice project to make. For a little troubleshooting, if you think yours is not completely even, you could try adding another round. That might help. You could also consider maybe adding 3 chains in the corners. That could also be a help. And again, don't be afraid to maybe crochet 2 stitches together and add an extra round, or skip some or add some if that is what works best for you. You can of course also try to block it. And for a lot of projects, if you're making a bag or a cardigan or something like that, it will actually work out when you join your squares. That was all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Please like and subscribe if you did. And have a great day. See you in the next video.